Hello, historical authors. Welcome to another week of making your second book your best informational, persuasive, and narrative writing yet. Today we're going to do two things. Today you're going to finish your how-to book, which is your informational book. So I will attach how to start and finish an informational chapter posters on your writing posts, and so will Miss Karat. So that'll help you with the conclusion and revising your introduction for your how-to book. And today we're going to start talking about text features. So you are done, once you finish your how-to chapter, you are done with all 4 chapters. So yeah. And then we get to do some more fun stuff like adding text features. Now when you have text features in a text, the point of them is to emphasize the most important ideas or concepts and to help your reader understand more. So when you do a text feature, again, the purpose of it is to teach and focus on your big ideas, okay? Some text features you may be familiar with are the following. So we've talked about headings. So headings can be the way you categorize a chapter. So remember with my chapter about different groups of people during the gold rush, I use the headings of African Americans, Mexicans, white miners, and so on, Chinese, Native Americans. So those headings were important text features because it focused on my main idea of separating and organizing those different groups I was teaching you about. Bold words. Today you are going to select which bold words you want in your text. Now remember, you don't want to just choose any bold word. You want to choose the words that are going to really help your reader understand your big idea in every one of your chapters, okay? So there should be 1, maybe 2, maximum 2 bold words in each chapter. More than that will be distracting for your reader, okay? So it's going to be 1, maybe 2 per chapter. So you will decide on 4 to 8 bold words altogether that you will have in your text. Remember, the words you choose are going to be very closely connected with your main idea or your big concept you're teaching or convincing your reader of. Timeline. You're familiar with the timeline. You've made them in class. You're going to, on other topics and so now we're going to be doing a timeline of these important events that led to California becoming the 31st state. You can use the information in the timeline poster that I've shared with you and Ms. Karat has shared with you about the events leading up to California statehood. Okay, so sometimes in a timeline you're going to have just the year and other times you'll have the month and day. A picture with the caption. Remember, everything in your text is teaching, so instead of only having a picture, you'll have a caption to explain it, right? Like a sentence or two to explain what this picture shows. A map is also a text feature. It teaches your reader location, and you are welcome to have one in this book if you see that one fits, perhaps with the routes to San Francisco. I know that really helped me understand how praiseworthy and Jack were traveling to San Francisco and what Kadai Higgins did when he went through Panama. And then a diagram. Now a diagram you're familiar with. It's a picture with labels, right? So here I have a little silly picture, but it's a sluice. So I would have like arrows and then I'd have different lines coming off of it to explain how a sluice works. You know, this is that, that's that, and then it goes into the remaining water and dirt runoff into the river. Picture with captions. I did a picture with little caption. Here the timeline showing you the dates, what happens in each one, and the month and day. I told you about heading, so a smaller title that categorizes, and then the bold words. I want to come back to that. So basically, you are going to have 3 of these text features, and they are the ones with the stars. You might be wondering, why did Miss Thompson put stars? You are going to have in your book bold words, a timeline, and a diagram. You are going to do the timeline and a diagram a different day, not today, okay? You're even going, now every time you have a bold word, where you find the definition, it can be right next to the word, but it also is in your glossary. Remember, a glossary is like a dictionary for your text, but it only has words used in your book. So, all students will have bold words, a timeline, and a diagram. If you have extra time and want to do more, but we're not doing it today, okay? So today you're just finishing the how-to chapter, and then you are going to select your bold words, okay? You're going to select your bold words. You're going to bold them in your text. I'm going to show you how, and you're going to be very thoughtful about the ones you choose, okay? Tomorrow you are going to write the glossary for those words, okay? So today you just select the bold words. Tomorrow you write the glossary. Thursday you're going to do the timeline and the diagram, okay? So today all you have to do is finish your how-to chapter and select your bold words, okay? So let me show you how to do that. My only tips for the how-to chapter so far that I've seen is that some of you are starting your paragraphs describing how to do something with like step 1, step 2, step 3. You always want to start that process of instruction with an opening sentence that's not number 1. It might say, these are the steps in learning how to use a sluice effectively. Then you go step 1, step 2, step 3. Or if it's, this is how to get to California, like this first route is called around the Cape Horn. First you take a boat from Boston, okay? But the first sentence may not start with the number 1 or the word first. You need to use a sentence that explains what you're about to teach and talk about, okay? Because it can confuse your reader if you don't. All right, now let's get into selecting our bold words. Let me show you how I do it with mine.
Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to show you with my writing how I'm going to select my bold words. Remember, when I choose my bold words, they're going to be connected to my main idea or my main teaching point. They're going to be important words for my reader to know, not just a tricky word. So typically my chapter 1 would be much longer. I only did the start of it to demonstrate for you. So I would choose one when I had a longer, if I had a longer story. Now, moving here, I was looking through all about groups of people during the gold rush, and I thought the word discrimination would be a good word. And the reason why I want to bold it is because discrimination is different than racism. Racism is just based on the color of your skin, but discrimination can be based on what culture you come from. It can be based on your gender, and it can be based on who you love. So I'm going to bold the word discrimination. So what I do is I find the word I want, I double click it, then I go over, I choose the B for bold, and there it is. Now, in my essay didn't explain what discrimination means here. So what I can do is I can add a definition here, or I can just have it in the back of my glossary. So I'm going to leave this one as it is, and I'm going to have the definition only in the glossary. As I scroll down and I search for a second one for this essay, I'm thinking to myself, which word I really want to use, I really want to bold, is the word loitering. Loitering is a word that, as of my 4th grade self, I did not know, but it's important because it's actually part of this law that allowed people in California to say that Native Americans were loitering and then sell them like slaves and then force them to work for 4 months without pay. Oh, look, I see a little typo. Okay, so right here it says to loiter is to stand around without doing anything, but I'm still bolding the word here because I want to bring my readers' focus to this new word so they can understand how this law worked and they could see that almost anything can appear as loitering. So I would have my definition here, I'll leave it, and I'll also have my definition in my glossary. All right, I've got 2. Now when I looked at how to get to San Francisco during the gold rush, I think about what words are going to be very important for my reader to understand to get this big idea. And I thought about another word that'd be really good is route or route. You can say it either way. Route or route, however you choose to pronounce it, is an important word because this is all about the 3 routes to California. So if someone gets confused by the word route, they're going to be confused and wondering about that this entire essay and not be able to focus on what the idea is about, which is the 3 different paths. Now, what I want you to notice is, okay, I've selected some. I'm going to go on and select more, but you're understanding the idea. And what you're going to do today, like I said, is finish your how-to essay, and then you're going to choose your bold words. Now you see, I just chose mine, and what I'm going to do is in my notebook, I'm going to write down the words I chose. So I chose discrimination. I also chose loitering. In chapter 3, I chose route. Now, I actually had the word routes, but I always look up a word in its original form, its singular form. Loitering or discrimination, those come from the words to discriminate. And this comes from the word to loiter, because these are both, this comes from the noun to loiter, this comes from the verb to discriminate. I would have to look up these words to get the full definition, but that will come tomorrow. Today you'll just write on a piece of paper the bold words you select and which chapters they came from, okay? So you should have 1 to 2 for each chapter. So you will have a total of at least 4 and maximum 8. And you'll take this picture and upload it to your writing assignment. Okay, writers, so all you have left to do now is to finish your how-to chapter, select your 4 to 8 bold words, any amount in between 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. But you cannot have more than 2 per essay or story or informational chapter, okay? Only 2. So spread those bold words out and choose ones that really help explain your main idea or the main purpose of that chapter, okay? Be thoughtful, historical writers. It'll make your teaching even better. All right. If you have any questions, remember, email your teacher, whether it's myself or Miss Karad, and we are here to help. All right. You get to it now.